I got another question.
Yes, just smile. You don't have to look. I'm not really afraid of that.
76 to 78. Ripped me out of there, so I just made 2 friends. And then I graduated from West Side. I know more people way people now. I was thank you. Okay, you're going to be in there. You guys have a copy of the creed that he's supposed to be reading?
Testing. We're going to start in a few minutes. Just give us a couple minutes to get everything going, and then we'll get started. Ready to go? We're broadcasting. Okay, why don't we go ahead and get started? Let's call the meeting to order. My name is Jeff Davis. I'm the EC of Timberlake Precinct. I don't know if they can put the agenda up there. PowerPoint. If Tracy Romano, Judy Langley, and Tommy could come on up, we're going to do the opening prayer and pledge and the Republican Creed.
evening. Good evening. We bow our heads, please. Our Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to speak with you publicly this evening. Thank you for this space and the hard work that went into organizing this event. Thank you for all of our community members present. We pray for your guidance. Please guide our hearts and our minds as we move through this meeting. Please provide discernment for truth and patience, and that we make decisions that please you. Thank you that as we gather together, we join with all Christians to glorify your holy name. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Thank you. And Tracy, I should have announced, she is the EC-elect for the Silverleaf Precinct, and she is a new EC. Welcome. You'll notice even at the last forum we had on the 10th, they were all new ECs. So here's another new EC, Judy Langley. You want to come over here? You can come up on the big stage if you like. Judy's going to do the Pledge of Allegiance for us. So if you please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tommy Marafa. Tommy, with the Republican Creed. Everyone can read along. It's up on the big screen up there. But he is the new EC for the Saluda. Oh, I'm sorry. He's actually the new president for the Saluda Precinct. Welcome, Tommy.
Okay. I can just read it from up there. Okay. Can you hear me? I do not choose to be a common man. It is my right to be uncommon. If I can seek opportunity, not security, I want to take that calculated risk to build my dream, to fail, to succeed. I refuse to barter incentives for dole. I prefer the challenge of life, guaranteed security, the thrill of fulfillment, and the stale calm of your truth. I will not trade freedom for beneficence or my dignity for handout. I will never cower before my master. Save my God, it's my heritage to stand erect, proud and unafraid to think and my act and enjoy the benefit of creation to the face of the whole world bodily, and I say, I am a free American.
Thank you, Tommy. We are all free Americans, and that's our Republican Creed. Next up, I'd like to just, number one, welcome. Are there any new members that were new to Precinct ReOrg this year? If you would, stand up, raise your hand. You know, if you are new, coming out to ReOrg. Thank you for stepping up. We want more and more people involved in Precinct ReOrg, and that's the process. So Olga's got a quick video. I think she's going to play a 3.5-minute video, and then we're going to hand it off to Bill Frady. He's going to open up a few words, and he's got questions, and we'll go into the event.
Protesting the Vice President's visit, dozens of them believe Vice President Harris has more important places to meet. The Greenville County GOP says it will be welcoming the Vice President with signs pointing her to the border.
Remove certain LGBT votes from the children's section comes after the Greenville Republican Party called for the budget.
I'm here to make you aware of one of the many inappropriate books available in our county on the store app.
Extremely disappointed that this was going to be a win no matter what, whether the resolution got passed or people started seeing exactly where the problem lies. And the problem lies in county council and elected officials that are unwilling to stand up for what's right for the local community. I want to help children at Christian, private, low-income schools, low-income kids. If you want to help all children, the PACE program will actually satisfy and will cover about 97% of the children that are out there.
are, where people think that, everyone's chosen a side and dug in their heels and everyone else is wrong. I think it's really unfortunate. There's lives hanging in the balance of that.
How much your predecessors are talking about what he's talking about? Here's his thought on Jessica. That's one thing. Here's his thought on estate violence, probate. Christine Mateo, the paralegal, handled his probate at the Greenville County Probate Office. This is real. My name again is Jeff Davis. I'm the chairman of the Greenville County Republican Party, and I'm not here representing just Republicans. I'm trying to save Democrats' lives. I'm trying to save Republicans' lives. I'm trying to save people that were in the situation where press is stuck a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, get treatment and find some solutions.
We've done a lot, y'all have done a lot. I'm gonna hand it over to Bill, let him take control. You got 2 speakers down there, or 2 mics, and I think they'll come off. Thank y'all for coming out.
Do I need to do something special to this?
Yep.
Maybe turn it on? Yes, Steve. Radio's actually the producer. I'm just a puppet. They're actually flipping the switches. Good evening. On the air, I've said, I've been in radio now for 13 years, and on the air I've said publicly that I regret my military service because I helped facilitate a status quo government that has now gone so far out of control that it does not resemble anything close to sanity. And then I get a minute, and I get to come to something like this because I end the show, which just started at WORD. I end the show Straight Talk by saying when I can remember to do it. Because sometimes my mind is moving so fast I don't know where it's going. I try to end the show with all of the politics and all of the minutia that you hear me talking about and all the things that you have to consider on a daily basis. That is not America. You are America. So, that's all I'm going to tell you. And now I'm going to show you the best side of me in a photo, which is the back of my head. And we're going to look at your candidates. So for the GCRP chairman, which will lead the county party, we have Yvonne Julian. First vice chair, they assist the chairman in all aspects of his or her duty. Mike Bowden. The state executive committeemen represent the county party at the state GOP, which is a particularly loathsome job to be involved with those people down there. Jeff Davis. I'm going to start with the questions that are to the whole group. The fact that I'm up here asking questions, I'm not actually in charge. I have my lovely assistant back here. When she says,
Time.
then we got to move on. Agreed? We want to have a neat and orderly skirmish. So, for the group, during the last Q&A on April 10th, when asked about election integrity, some of you touted the weak election integrity bill in the South Carolina House. Have any of you sent FOIA requests to the County Election Office of the South Carolina Election Commission for CDRs, or better yet, contacted them personally about our voter rolls? Let's start with Mr. Bowden.
I was involved in the beginning stages of our GCRP committee as we looked at this. Number one of the things that we did was bid canvassing. Some of the people in this room were part of that. We had conversations with a number of legislators. We sent various emails and phone calls. In my case, I always got a machine. but we did apply some pressure. The bill that did get passed moved pretty quickly and ahead of our ability to get ourselves in a position to have the kind of impact I wish we had. A lady by the name of Laura Sharp did a pretty good job of leading the way on that, but where we are right now is we still have machines, and that's an issue for us. We saw a demonstration on this at the county election board with Conrad Lajian, and he admitted that they can't open up the machines, they can't inspect them. We don't know if there's any manipulation of algorithms in them, and we don't know if there's any modems in them.
Miss Julia.
Thank you. No, I have never sent a FOIA request asking for information about elections. I was a very big financial supporter of the Trump election, the recount and everything he was trying to do. What I came away with that is that this is a huge issue, and I basically had no faith that there was anything that I could do as a citizen at this point with the people we have in office, because no one who's worked on the process has ever showed me a pathway to this, what a FOIA request is going to do, what good it does, it's who we're going to talk to, who it influences. I have never seen a vision to correct, and there has not been one person that we think that has been in office, unfairly, no election's been overturned. So while I applaud the efforts, I think if we can't get if Trump could not do it, I don't see what good we could do. So that's just my view.
Mr. Davis.
I send lots of FOIA requests. I get in trouble for sending too many FOIA requests. I got in trouble from Stephen Brown for sending a FOIA request to the governor's office with the Trump logo for under Greenville GOP letterhead. So yes, I do believe we need to send FOIA requests. I think we need to push harder on what's going on. My disappointment that I don't see anybody at the State House that's willing to sit there and fight for election integrity. We want paper ballots. We want these machines gone. I will tell you, Rob Harris, who is a new House rep out of, was part of Greenville, is now all of Spartanburg with the redistricting. Rob Harris learned about and was part of this because we were pushing the agenda. So that's when Rob literally filed to run for office. I called him, and before he was like, "How do you even know?" Because we were watching people filing for office on the online system. But I think we need to be more aggressive about it. I think we've left. We're real close and work real closely with Laura Shar out of Lexington to kind of. From a state perspective to follow up on that. But I mean, there's bigger problems, and I will tell you, dealing with the state election commission, the head of the election commission is a 2008 Citadel grad. I've called him multiple times. I went to Citadel too. He won't return my calls. He won't return my calls because there's a problem at the state election commission, and we need to fix that. So we're working really hard to do that.
Mr. Mann.
Have not sent any FOIA requests. Did call a couple of legislators after the election there with President Trump when he was, I wouldn't say unelected, but the new president was appointed, and didn't get any positive results on anybody standing up for President Trump. A lot of the people that he had on his platform basically abandoned him, and so we've got to do a better job with election integrity. We should be following what Florida's doing as far as securing our ballots and the way we vote here in South Carolina.
Mr. Hill.
I have not sent any FOIA requests, but I did go to the election commission and also came to some of you who are ECs about the way that the election went in my district that I just finished a few months ago. A lot of you may remember it. And I found lots of ballots that were bad. I watched as the election commission threw them in the trash can. One man stood up and said, "Mine needs to be counted, and I asked you to count it." So they counted his ballot. But the people that were not there to fight, it went in the trash can. Theirs did. And I came to the executive committee of the county party, and they voted to have another election, but because our leadership didn't take this thing the proper channels and didn't notify the other candidate in writing with a registered mail and all that delivered by the sheriff and all of those things that have to be done by law. I lost my appeal, but now that wasn't the end of it. The state did some violations also that caused me not to be able to go any further. they changed the date that we were supposed to have the hearing. So I know all about how crooked the elections can be. I had over 100 people that were ready to stand up and say that their ballots were not right. They were moved out of their district without any notification. All of those things are illegal. But it meant nothing if you don't follow the procedure. The law says you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do it on such and such a date. And when you don't do those things, the candidate is in the trash can.
Ms. Hershey.
Well, I won't need a full, is it 2 minutes that we have? Or
Yes,
one?
2 minutes.
I won't need that. No, I have not ever submitted a FOIA on election integrity or anything like that. I have on other issues, but not with the elections. I will say this, this team right here is very much in favor of an election integrity. I have talked to legislators. I talked to legislators from the Freedom Caucus who were very instrumental in passing an election integrity law. And they fully admitted up front that they got just about everything that they wanted, except they couldn't get that last ingredient to be passed, and that was to make sure the elections were not online, not hooked up to the internet, and they could not get that passed. So we definitely need election integrity here, not only at the local level, but at the state level.
Okay, this is another question for the group. I began my radio career in Columbia, and after I got infused into the political scene in Columbia, after I do my broadcast, I go for a fire hose and an overpass, and I just wanted to hang myself. So, one thing the Republican Party is made up of alphas, which is great, except it's a problem because we need to unify. Now, when I say unity within the Republican Party, does this mean that you're going to go and kiss somebody's ring? I mean, what does that mean to you as far as unifying the Republican Party in South Carolina? We can start with you, Mr. Davis.
Unity means unity of mission, not unity of personalities have to get together. We can all work together, but we have to be unified on mission. And our mission is threefold. Number one, the Republican platform. I will unify and work with anybody that wants to promote the Republican platform. The other two pillars that we kind of use as guide rails are the Constitution and the Bible. So unity is not, oh, we all get along and have a House rep or some legislator come speak at our meetings. As you've noticed, I never wanted one. I said from the beginning, I didn't want House reps coming there. Our job is to keep them accountable and unified on the mission of the Republican platform. So that's what unity means to me.
I would also would agree with what Jess said and also add that unity also means people who have a common understanding of how you are successful. Mountain climbing, I don't know if many of you know, mountain climbing became sort of a metaphor for leadership training in the corporate world for the last 20 years. And I actually took a leadership training course where they talked about an Everest trip where a certain number of people got pretty close to the summit, but they looked at the group, and it was 1996 when the weather was really, really bad. It was a particularly bad time. And they looked at the group and they assessed the strengths and weaknesses of the group. And what they as a team decided was that they would use the resources to get the small group of people that actually had the capability to the top instead of trying to have everybody go through the physical stress. I mean, it's a real deal. So it's that kind of understanding that, a good leader looks at the principles of leadership. A good leader looks at what's best for the team. So I also would add, you have to unify around people who have a common understanding of the ways that you do things.
Mr. Bowden.
I think we're unified on our pillars, our three pillars around the platform, the Bible, and the Constitution. I think if you use that as a moral compass, as a political guideline, then it's easier to get everybody going on mission together in the same direction. I also believe that we really need to unify the body of the county in such a way that the ECs are really driving all the business and the people up here are facilitating what the body wants. And to me, that's what unity is.
Mr. Mann.
Unity is the Bible first. Laws came from the Bible. Constitution second. Party platform falls in line with those two. Otherwise, we don't have a party platform. I teach Sunday school, have for the last 8 years in my church, Edwards Road Baptist Church. I've been there since 1997. And so the Bible's got to come first. That's how I'm going to judge about woke and transgender and what books belong in the schools. And that's how we're going to mold our party platform. Unifying is the body that's everybody's here. Everybody plays an important part of being unified with the Republican Party. But how are we going to hold our legislators accountable if we can't get them to the meetings to be held accountable? We don't hold them accountable from a distance. We bring them to our meetings. You ask the questions, not led by me, but by you. The heavy lifting's got to be done by the people. Each delegation, each delegate, each citizen of Greenville County and throughout the whole state. So it goes Bible, Constitution, and then Republican platform.
Because of the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, I have a belief system. I came from a home that taught me right and wrong. I've raised my children to be the same way. And I'm strong and will not compromise on the basic facts. I don't understand why in South Carolina we've got people flying people in here to have abortions, when a year ago it was illegal and everybody was all upset because it was illegal to kill babies. I mean, there's no compromise on issues like that. But I think what we got to do is quit kicking each other's rear end and be willing to sit down and talk and try to work out where we came from. You know, if you're lost, I need to be trying to lead you to the Lord. I don't need to be accusing you of being a crook or anything else. I need to try to work with you, but I will not compromise to work with you on my basic beliefs.
Well, we need to be unified on our basic principles, our fundamental principles. If we compromise our beliefs and our values, that's just totally wrong. Then we're nothing. The fundamental principles that underscore our values are constantly being compromised by Republicans in name only. We are the Republican Party. The Bible and the Constitution are given. Those are givens. But the Republican platform, that's what we're talking about as Republicans tonight. And the fundamental principles of right to life, one of the first tenets of our Republican platform, and then why on earth can we not pass the Human Life Protection Act in South Carolina? Why are we an abortion destination state? That is awful, and it's because we're compromising. We're compromising our values. The Republican Party right now is giving cover to liberal Republicans that feel that they can demand a loyalty oath rather than underscoring and helping the Freedom Caucus. This should never be, and it's all because of compromise.
All right, this is one for the whole group. Would you please name a position or that you, your opponent, has taken that you agree with? And any thoughts? Would you please name a position that your opponent has taken that you agree with?
I'll start off. I think Julie supports school choice. She and I have not talked about whether she supports the ESAs, which are government run, versus the Pay Scholarship, which is run by independent nonprofits. I hope she supports a non-government run solution, but she's been, as a as a member of the school board. I think she's been a big school choice supporter, so I think we would hopefully agree on that.
You want to comment on that?
I am in favor of school choice. That's nice that you said something nice, Jeff. Thank you.
Do you want to let us know if you support government-run school choice ESAs or you support the independent nonprofit pay scholarship bill, tax credit scholarships?
I support school choice, period. Whether it's government, private, whatever, I support school choice.
Mr. Bill.
Do what?
With Mr. Bowden, do you have?
Mike, I was one of the people in the executive committee that voted for Mike to be in his position. I thought he has done a good job. I don't think he has the knowledge and the background to keep moving forward like we're going to have to do. But now, I wish I could say that he went to Columbia and he fought so that they would not change the date on me so that I could have the public hearing, or that he got Jeff not to leave where I couldn't have my time that would be counted. But
so that would be a sort.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't think he, I wish I could say that some of those things happened, but they didn't happen.
Well, there was not a Columbia meeting at that time. It was in between meetings, so it would have been hard to go to Columbia and engage with all 46 counties. That said, I did make efforts to help Yvonne organize.
Just about Mr. Bill.
Was it?
A position that he took that you agree with.
Oh, well, I supported Joe in his election. I think he was a great councilman. I think what happened to him was unfair, and I think it was wrong. And I think it's just just another example of what's wrong with our system, and that's why we have to fight it.
Mr. Mann.
As former press secretary for the Republican Party, I supported a lot of issues. The vaccine, protecting healthcare workers. Me and Jeff talked many times on issues, and so I don't see any issues that we disagree on. So there's a lot of issues that we all disagree on, with Jeff and Yvonne and Mr. Mike. I think the tactics is where I disagree of how we're doing things, but as far as the issues, I think everybody in this room is for the right issues. I think it's just a matter of tactics of how we accomplish those issues.
Well, I have to say, honestly, I don't know what Sam's issues are based on action. I know what you said, but I believe in watch their feet, not their lips. And so based on, you were our press secretary for a short time, but I honestly have to say, I don't know. I have not seen the action that tells me what your principles are based on what you've actually done. So.
All right, I'm looking at everything here. A lot of this is going to be targeted. So with the answers on this, in order to get to everybody, if you could go as briefly as you can. Mary, do you want to take that and maybe adjust that to minute?
Okay. Yes, sir.
So here we go. Starting with you, Yvonne. Can you withstand difficult personalities and bullying tactics? And if so, what experiences have preceded these qualities in you?
Okay. Well, I hate telling this story because but I'll tell a story that really demonstrates it the best. And so I had a customer, and we went to lunch in a small town in Iowa, and he was a young white guy, and the woman refused to serve us. There was a small diner in a town, and she wouldn't come over, and I felt so bad for him because he clearly understood what was going on. And my heart went out because he felt worse about it than I did. I mean, the suit I had on probably cost more than the woman's salary. So I was not, I was not hurt. But anyway, it's just, I think having those kind of experiences that you just are able to put yourself in the place of people and understand how they feel, and also recognize that everybody brings a skill. And in the business world, you have to do that. You have to be able to get along. You focus on the problem, not the people. You focus on issues. And you do it because you are held accountable by your customer, by your your share price, by so many things that doesn't happen in politics. So, okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Bowden, voting integrity is a top priority of hers. What things would you bring about to accomplish that?
Well, I think we learned a little bit from the last time. Writing legislation is an art. We need to bring people in that know how to write it properly. We need to get underneath the issues that are still pending, which is the machines, which is the ability to inspect machines. It's writing legislation to move away from those machines and the internet, because a modem in these machines can be as small as a piece of rice. They're very easy to put in there. You can easily take the software in there and you can change the algorithm of how the votes come out. And it's been proven many, many times over. So I think until we dig into that really, really deeply and we write legislation that we can take to the legislatures and pressure them to take to the floor, then we'll be making progress.
For the group, is anybody else besides you folks running for these positions? This is it?
As far as we know.
We don't have any idea.
Yes, sir. All right. To chairperson candidates, what will you do to unite the Greenville GOP? Start with you, Sam.
You know, I said it before, the way that I'm going to unite, I hate to, you know, we should already be united. Recharge. We've got to bring our legislators back. We've got to have communication with them, especially our conservative legislators who are the way we're going to change legislation, how we're going to close primaries, how we're going to keep woke books out of schools, how we're going to make this where it's not an abortion destination state. The only way we're going to do that is have the open line of communication with those who will work with us. And there's a lot that will work with us. But I think that they are a little hesitant with the current leadership to come and work with us because they feel like they're going to be targeted. And that's just from me talking to them. But there's a lot of conservative legislators who are willing to do our fight in Columbia. We just got to bring them back to the party so you guys can ask them the questions. Ask them the questions instead of through me asking them the questions. And so you got to hold them accountable. The accountability people are you guys. And so I'm just there to facilitate the meeting and do your wishes.
So the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So realistically, I bought my little, Jeff says, I'm always bringing flow charts and, demos, but I bought a street because my goal I want everybody who's an EC, who's in power, to say what these people offer is so good a tool for my success that I cannot be bothered with whether the little petty high school games are going on. Because at the end of the day, I want those legislators that Sam wants the rings to kiss, I want them to fear and respect you. I can really I want to give you guys the tools to basically turn out so many voters. The focus is going to be, and doing it like you're running a business. Your job is to go to your precincts, you meet people, you turn out voters, and you hold these people accountable because they fear you. So I want to unify us around mission and around tools. I want, so anyway.
You got lots of questions, so you're going to get to do all kinds of stuff. So, we're Sam, Joe, and Julie. Am I right, son? What 3 things have you accomplished that benefited Greenville GOP in the past 2 years?
Oh, come on. Can we ask questions, or are these just only?
Well, you had an opportunity to write one on an index card. If you want to put it on an index card, please do.
Problem is we got cease and desist orders from people like Jeff Davis when he steals money from us, so to keep our mouth shut. And if everybody'd like to have a copy of that, I'd be happy to provide it for you.
Okay. I understand that. Do we want to have a debate?
You had the questions ahead of time. They had the questions ahead of time. These people have not.
No, they don't have any questions.
Yes, they did have the questions.
All of these questions right here on index cards that got written down.
They had the questions ahead of time.
No questions.
There were no questions. Not that I'm aware of.
look at the questions? How do I know?
Hey guys, I got an email about the questions. The answers are going to be the same whether they ask them or whatever it is. The answers are not going to change. We know what this is. We know what we're doing here. So I would love for all you guys to answer questions. I got the questions and went over them. Hey, I didn't agree with all the questions. They were targeted questions. But I stepped forward to put my name in this position to run for this chair. Okay? So even though I don't like the questions that were approved by whoever, I don't know who approved them, I don't know who submitted them, but I'm going to answer the questions. I don't run. I'm held accountable. I don't kiss rings, by the way, Yvonne. I took out a rhino, which is nothing that any three of you can say that you've done.
Okay, let's talk to the audience, not to each other. I think we need to make an establishment of order at this particular point, okay? I was asked to come here and be in charge. I am in charge. I'm trying to help you facilitate, put your positions out in front of the voters who will depend upon you to act as their proxy. It is my esteemed hope that once they do, or any of you that are successful, that they hound you to hell to make sure that you do your job. So let's make no mistake about this. When a mic is in front of my face, I'm the man. Any questions? Any questions? I don't need the hairstyle, of course. So, once again, and this can be pretty quick. I mean, it's a pretty general thing. What have you done for the GOP in the last 2 years? Anything?
You want me to answer?
Go. You go.
Hey, okay. I've been an executive committeeman, represented the people from Tigerville precinct, and on a lot of issues that I didn't agree with, because Jeff and his leadership felt that it was strong, like their budget and things of that nature. I didn't vote for them. I voted against them. But I have tried to work with them. And that's two of the things that I've done. The third one is I am here to change the direction that we have been going.
Well, one of the things that I've done to help the GOP is I was on the audit committee who found all the cheating and everything that took place 2 years ago, not only by the local GOP at the time, but the state GOP. And that is why Jeff Davis became chairman, because of the audit work that our committee did. And we've been called rhinos ever since by Jeff Davis. The second thing that I've done, I've been an executive committeeman, and I've built my precinct, and I have gone to every meeting with the new GOP leadership, Jeff Davis. I've gone to every meeting, and I've almost had to hold my nose the last 6 months or so, because our GOP party locally has gone from 80% down to about 25 to 30%, a handful of people.
Time.
Okay, is it my time?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to get all that. Let's try to get it all. Sam?
Hey, since we're just into 2023, we're going to start from 2022. Now, I've been the EC for my precinct, Super Mill. I'm now currently the president. In 2020, I referred to taking out a rhino. I took out a Clinton relative who was running for sheriff here in Greenville County, so that you have Hobart Lewis as your sheriff. He donated to the Hillary for America campaign 3 different times. I exposed it, and I didn't do it by calling him a name. I just asked him a question. He couldn't answer it. He blamed his wife, who was a Clinton relative. And so it unraveled from there. And we've got the best sheriff that we've had in a long time here in Greenville County, which was Hobart Lewis. And so I made a contribution to my county by taking out a what you'd say would be a true rhino.
Is this mic hot, Mr. Audio Man? Is this a hot mic or one that you? So, I don't want to be unfair. I got time for 5 people to ask a question. I will come to you and let you ask the question. Since I was put in charge of this, this is my chain of command. I am the combat commander. You want to do that?
A question.
It has to be the question, not the question. A question.
Oh, yeah, like that's always happens.
How many cease and desist orders have you provided to people to keep their mouth shut when you screw them over and take their money?
Who's that for?
I think only one, you.
So $20,000 you took after I asked for it for 3 solid months. And then when I shared that I was going to share that to everyone in this room, you then told me you didn't have the money to give me from Rock to Red, and you provided as an attorney, which you're not an attorney in the state of South Carolina, and you provided and said that you were part of Rock to Red, but you cannot be an authorized attorney for them in the state of South Carolina. And you stole my $20,000, and the only option you had was, I don't have the money to provide for you.
If you'd like me to respond, you donated $20,000
No,
to a
I didn't.
501c3 nonprofit, a South Carolina nonprofit, and you're more than welcome to sue. And the law is once you donate, you donate. You wanted to have a table or 2 tables with Laura Trump. We provided it, and you wanted your money back
But I
after
couldn't
you'd already written the
come
check.
because you provided me with a cease and desist order. So I wasn't allowed to be at the event. So I paid for all of these people to come to the event. You stole my money, refused to give it back, even talking to my attorney. And your whole take was, not that I marketed, not that I advertised, not that I did all these things for you, but we don't have the money to provide it for
Okay, young lady. Point made.
you. My point's made,
Very good. Thank you very much.
and I'm done.
Back during the last county convention in 2021, the travesty of that remote convention, I think we would all agree that was ridiculous, not meeting in person. We complained about that, but now the county meetings are being held remotely, and the last several months before that, they were held in the backyard, and they had to stop, obviously, because it was getting too dark and too cold. I want to know if the next chairman is going to push to find an indoor venue where we can have our meetings for the next 2 years.
Greenville County Library has a great room that holds 250 people. It's free. Nobody has to pay for it. All I got to do is register to get it.
Well, yeah, that's the space the same, because that's the space we've been using for some of our meetings. So yeah, that's kind of a no-brainer. I think we have 2 space issues. There's the issue of office space and the space that I think is more important, which is the gathering space, the coffee and politics space, which is where we do the work. So yeah, we're open to any suggestions. It's a matter of if people have ideas. I mean, nobody's wedded to any particular space, but there's 2 space issues, office and then also doing the real work, and that's really the one I'm more concerned about, is where we can have people get together to meet, to strategize. So.
There was a lot of discussion earlier about unity and the black community. My question is, who separated this organization in the first place? My question is, who separated this party in the first place?
I can answer that. The rhinos did. They didn't want to be held accountable. They ran away. They got hurt feelings, and they won't come to the table. I will meet with anybody, anytime, in public, in private, on, off the record. I'll sign any legal release you want. We will meet with you. But some people will not meet. I'll meet with you tomorrow, right now.
Okay, I got 3 people. I got 2 slots. I'm gonna amend that to 3, and then we are done with this part. You first, young lady. Is it you? Okay.
This is directed to Jeff. Last week, as you said the goal of the GCRP is to elect conservatives you support to all available political positions. Dakota Fitzgerald lost. Joe Farmer lost. Mark Burns lost. Linda Leventis Wells lost. Keith Jones lost. Wyatt Miller lost. Brett Mercado lost. Cynthia Horner and Yvonne Julian lost. 9 lost their races. My question, Mr. Davis, how would you encourage any future candidate to look to you or the GCGOP for support with such a poor election success rate?
Amanda Brett won. Linda Leventis Wells won. But they won. I have people contact me all the time about running for office, wanting to work for us. We have sent 2 people to the Leadership Institute to learn how to run campaigns. Joe Farmer's running for mayor against Knox White. We met today. We are going to get rid of these people. We are going to learn how to do it. There's an art and a science to it, and we're working at it. We're doing it as a team.
9 lost, just remember that. Thank you.
Amanda Brett won. She was my school board trustee. I helped her in her campaign financially and by putting up signs, making phone calls. Amanda Brett did win, and she took out Roger Meek, which was just wonderful, and I'm grateful for that. But I don't think, Jeff, that you had anything to do with it.
Do you want a comment from Amanda? She'll tell you.
I lost because of the division in the Republican Party.
You shouldn't be talking. Next question. Next question. Time.
This question is for Sam Manley. I'd like to know what you have done to stop all these books that have been in the children's library, and also what you've done to stop the wokeness with the CRT in the schools.
Well, I'm not an elected official, so I can't write any bills.
Wait a minute. You can go and speak to those councils.
I do speak to them. I spoke to county council. I spoke to county council. I spoke to legislators or upstate legislators.
No, about this.
About woke, about the bills. Hey, my daughter's in middle school. You don't think that I haven't? There's a Sarah Collins book.
Did you go to the library?
Did I go to the library and see the book?
And the board?
Did I go to the board? Yes, I've talked to several members of the board.
You weren't there and talked when I was there and spoke because
No,
I voted against.
unlike some people that's up here, I can pick up the phone and call them.
Just call them.
Call them. How am I supposed to have a conversation with them? So you're saying that I need to go and stand at a podium and okay. Well,
Know who you are, that you have actually done that, and that you're standing up for the people.
those school board members know who I am. Thank you.
I was there. I introduced a resolution to stop the whole thing on the county council. And what happened? 9 county councilmen voted it down. They said, no, we're not going to get involved in that. But I did introduce something.
I just wanted to check on the question that was asked about what did the Greenville County Party do to help those that were running for office. I don't see it as they guarantee you get an office. They offer help. And I was given a lot of help running for office. No, I didn't get in. I learned a lot. If I ran again, I would know even more. But the party did support me. There was a lot of education and a lot of wonderful support. So just because the candidates didn't get in, doesn't mean that the Greenville County GOP did do a great job supporting them. And I think they did better with experience. What a question. I was hitchhiking on the question before that said, what did the Greenville County Party do to help candidates get in?
Hey, hey. Somebody my size, you don't want to say. I'm not threatening anybody. I'm just making a statement that if I'm moderating an event and I give out opportunities to reply to questions, yes, and I get those 5 questions, it's not my problem. Now you have the mic, so please ask your question.
Okay, this is called to Jeff Davis. He has been sending emails out. You always talk about fair, the right of lies.
Can you back up a little bit? Wait, no.
Okay, you always say we need transparency, being out the rhinos.
Hold it closer.
You always talk about transparency, being expose the rhinos, lies and lies. You call everybody that say things about your job in Georgia when you were a lawyer, about your previous client. You call them people liars, and you keep feeling lawsuit against people. This is my question, okay? This is a court ruling. It's one of the many court rulings there in the system, where they call you, they say that you act with false pretense, false interpretation, that you misuse your client funds and put in your own account for personal spending, and you are with fraudulent intent. My question is, are you calling the rule, the judge, or the rule, or the court liars too?
You're talking about a 2008 bank investment transaction?
I'm talking about whatever. I'm talking about when you file bankruptcy 7 and you try to erase your clients, the money you owe to your clients. You try to erase, and the court don't allow it because they say that you are with fraudulent intent. So my question is, are you get accountable for that, or are you gonna deny and accuse everybody of lying?
I'm missing the question. Everybody's heard this case. We've talked about it. I've interviewed for hours and hours about it. I'm happy to talk about it.
You still deny. You can deny court record. You can deny everything, but you can erase court record. Because the court record are here. Yeah, so I want to know, are you calling the judge or the court liars?
Are you calling the judge a liar?
Am I calling the judge a liar? I'm not calling judges liars.
Because you are denying everything that is in the court.
I'm the liar?
I mean, you are denying everything.
Okay. I don't know what the
And you want us to trust us.
Okay.
You want us to trust you.
Okay. Time. Thank you. Court Sam, Joe, and Julie, the SCGOP illegally harvested 423 convention delegate registrations and paid, for some say bribe, convention delegates to vote for the preferred candidates in 2021. Since it appears you are three of the preferred SCGOP slate, would you commit to conceding the election if it is found that you three are the beneficiaries of ReOrg cheating like in 2021?
That's a stilted question.
Can I?
No truth. You just read the question.
I just read the question because that's what I had in front of me.
I understand. I don't know who wrote the question.
I don't know who wrote the question either. They didn't get out there and tell me to do a extensive critical thinking, deep dive into it. I'm just trying to get past it. Okay?
I think you probably are capable of doing one or two.
I am very capable of it, but I only got till 9 o'clock. And I want to I'd like to get everybody in.
Let's see what they have to say.
Absolutely. I'll do it if you'll do it.
Okay, so if we find out after this coming convention, well, I have more integrity and honor than to take a position that I don't rightly deserve. If it was shown to me that I won by cheating, you can better believe I'd step down, or I'd demand another election.
I feel the same way. And in the previous election, I think people ought to have went to jail over that thing. I don't think that you ought to be able to cheat and get by with it.
Sort of goes against fair elections if we don't, right? They asked President Trump to do the same thing, and so he did. But yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer. Yeah, it's definitely.
Same group. Drew McKissick stated that the 4th District Republican Club was formed by the SCGOP to oppose the new leadership to the GCRP. If you lose, will you call upon Drew McKissick to dissolve the 4th District Republican Club? If so, what would you do if Drew McKissick refuses?
Yes, we would. The 4th District's a club, just like the Greenville County Republican Party is a club. Their business doesn't have anything to do with our business. If they want to come to our meetings, they can. If they don't want to come to our meetings, they don't have to. We're not forcing people to come to our meetings and be a part of it. Drew McKissick's, he needs to be replaced. I've said it several times in many of my statements and many of my dialogue. So reforming the state party, reforming the Greenville County party, making it stronger, I think that's a goal for all of us. So, you know, the 4th District is a club. We could start up 15 clubs in Greenville County.
I think that we're going to have to change the leadership in Columbia because that's where the power is at. And if we don't change that leadership, what we have to fight here is going to be a really hard job. But we can meet the challenge. But I don't want to have to fight that challenge. I want the delegates to go to Columbia and change the leadership down there. But if we don't get seated, I mean, we're not running the show because of the actions that were taken here by our leaders. The state came in running the doggone ReOrg. We don't have any chance here. I mean, I felt like my hands were tied in the Tigerville precinct. We had lined up all kind of things to do, and then all of a sudden the rug gets jerked out from under us, and we're told, well, you got to go to Travelers Rest with 10 other groups. That was unthinkable.
Time.
I agree with Joe and Sam that the leadership at the state level needs to be changed. We all know that. But you know what? Greenville County it's a big county. It's the biggest. And we have the ability to make big change if we're all working together. Right now, our party has dwindled to practically nothing. We are totally dysfunctional because of all the chaos and the fighting and the bullying and kicking people out of the local party. How do you expect us to be organized enough to be able to do anything constructive about the state?
And we're broke.
Sandy and Yvonne, are you going to keep and follow the GCRP mission statement? Yvonne?
Definitely. Definitely, yes. Yeah. So it's all about executing around a mission. If you don't follow the mission statement and if you don't execute on it, you're just hallucinating about your reason for existing. And so not only would we follow it, we actually have that sort of salami technique that's broken that mission down into the action steps that people have to understand and actually complete before the mission means anything. So that's kind of a no-brainer.
Absolutely. We're going to follow the mission statement.
As an additive, do you think the mission statement is a thing that you can go beyond? Do you think it's a thing that you can actually really go conservative? Because what we need in government today is not some gradual, easy. And it's going to start locally. So it's going to take a very start fast, hard-hitting event. If you guys don't do it, then these guys are going to have no other choice. I'll have no other recourse but to be connected. And I'm sure there's a combat veteran or two out here in this crowd. You know exactly what I'm talking about when I'm saying going kinetic. Nobody here wants to go kinetic. So you think that this is something that can be arrested on your watch?
Right. Incrementalism is a tool for people who are happy with the status quo. And I'm sorry, the reality is that there are many Republicans who are very comfortable with the status quo. I mean, I will give you an example of a guy who sat on a video and talked about how the working class did not belong in the Republican Party, that they were the party of entrepreneurs. It's that country club Republican attitude that has hurt the party, and there are many people who are very complacent with it. So I am not a fan of incrementalism. I am a fan of getting something done and making some real change. So a sea change is what I call it. And what people have done in the past has not worked. I've heard nothing that they would do differently, and the idea of unity is fine if you all agree that this party has to change. As President Trump said the other day, the old GOP is gone. The old Wall Street, they're all this.
Bill, there's no doubt we got to be aggressive. the Democrats are being aggressive. In retrospect, they're united on taking this country to hell in a handbasket, while the Republican Party is still figuring out if there is a heaven or hell. We've got to get united. We've got to be aggressive. We've got to go after them because they are pushing their agenda without boundaries. And we're saying, back, we've got to replace the ones that don't vote the way we want them to vote. We send them to represent us. And so we've got to go beyond what the party wants, but what the people want. It's we the people, not we the party. So we've got to be aggressive in our actions going against them.
All right. I have a few, well, here's a general question. Why is the GCRP only promoting the American First slate and not promoting the other candidates or even mentioning them?
If you'll notice on those communications that have come out at the top, this is what happens normally. The state party, local parties will send out candidate communications. So at the top, you'll notice candidate communication. I know there was some confusion about it yesterday. If you follow other counties, I get all the emails from Charleston County Republican Party. It's there promoting it. If they want us to send out a communication form through the party, fine. Tell us what you want to send out. Give us an image. Give us the documentation, and give us the list that you want to send it to. That's what we do. That's what the state party does. They would not give Lynn Wood the names of the state delegates, but Lynn Wood could give a email to the state party, and then they would send that out. So we don't have the data. We don't have any information that they don't have to send out emails. If they want to send out emails, they can send out emails on their own, or they can send them through the party, and it'll be listed as a candidate communication.
That's not true.
No, you're working for us.
Last night,
No.
I got an email with Yvonne's bio, and I called in. It was a Zoom call, and it was not on the SCGOP. It was on the Greenville County Republican Party. Now, that is, in my opinion, that is unethical. It should never have been done without a vote of these people that are ECs out here. They have to endorse a candidate before you can put them on that screen from the Greenville County Republican Party. Now, this is not right, and I think it's just a continuation of the stuff that we've been talking about. Now, Yvonne says we hadn't showed that we'd do anything different. Yes, we will. We're going to do a lot of things different. And they're not going to be the way they have been done in the past. We're going to include everybody, and we're going to move ahead. And my time's up. Thank you.
Well, these a lot of questions. Mike, just so you know, I think everybody likes you because nobody's directing anything at you. So I just want you to know.
He's our secret weapon.
Julie, you mentioned 2/3 government funding of your nonprofit, but it's 92% basically a government, a gov agency. How can we trust you to stand up to gov? These are one of the written questions.
I did not submit that question.
I know.
Okay. Okay, well, we want to talk about my nonprofit. My nonprofit is called Live Free, and it's an abstinence until marriage education program for adolescents. And it's a service that no one pays for, and we provide teachers and curriculum, and this government funding you're talking about is just one of the grants, or two of the grants, that I actually write and apply for. We also get a grant from Christian Foundation. We get all kinds of different grants and then private donations. That's what runs my program. And my nonprofit's a little different than like some of Jeff's nonprofits. He has several. He has like 8 of them, I think. Okay, but I do have a governing board. I have a governing board, okay? And I'm very accountable.
Thank you.
Moving on, Sam, how do you feel about fellow Republicans staging a walkout at monthly meetings? What would you do to stop this act?
Staging a walkout at monthly meetings, like the Greenville County Republican meetings, or anything.
That's how it's written.
Well, for the Greenville County Republican meetings, hopefully they wouldn't walk out. Hopefully we would have an open dialogue that they wouldn't have to walk out. It's about communication between us all. So, you know, I don't think that there's anybody here that would want them to walk out, and I'm not going to run them off because they're the reason that we're trying to elect them and support them. And we want them to support us because they go and vote on these bills that we send them to Columbia for. So hopefully we'd have good enough dialogue and communication that they wouldn't want to walk out.
Sam, what's your plans to get the legislators to close the primaries?
But we got to get our conservative legislators. We got to talk to the ones who are on the fence about it, which we know why they're on the fence about it. It's a money gimmick. They get Democratic votes down in the Low Country. We're a purple state. You get below Columbia, and it's blue almost. So they're benefiting. Lindsey Graham benefits from it. So there's a lot of people that benefit from having open primaries. But we've got to change. The biggest thing, we've got to change the party leadership so they can get pressure from the party leadership. And that's where a lot of the money comes from. The root of all this is through the money. And the state party's got the money right now.
Julie, where were you when we were fighting the school board and libraries with the porno books for children?
Where was I? I probably was working my abstinence organization. I don't know why I'm being asked that question yet, to tell you the truth.
Okay, that's fair enough. Fair enough. Sam, since you publicly named Rhino as players at the ReOrg makeup meeting, why did you seek the endorsements from the same people?
What people did I seek endorsements from?
The ReOrg.
Let me give you a list of
bad
people.
guys at ReOrg.
I don't know. Jeff kept saying I was endorsed by Nate Loip. Nate Loip's never endorsed me. He doesn't want to endorse me. He's doing the same thing that these guys did after I announced that I was going to run. The guys that I called friends and I was working with just a year ago. He pulled my personnel file out and started sharing it to everybody for politics. This is what's happened after I got endorsed by 5 conservative candidates. 2 of them, Thomas Beach, Lee Bright, Hobart Lewis, the Sheriff Lewis. So, you know, I don't know why people go to such, levels that they have to go in the mud. I've never said anything derogatory about any of the people up here on this stage, and I'm not going to. If I'm going to do that to these people, then what says that I'm not going to do to you if I disagree with you? So.
Time.
It's 8:13 now. Do you guys care if I pretend like I'm interviewing them on a radio show? May I do that?
There are over 100 of you here who submit one question for Yvonne or Mike or Jeff, because I feel like we're going to be accused that we're targeting them. Who submitted by email? Who submitted one question in this room to these?
That's why I'm taking command.
Take it, Bill.
Who saw Al Haig when Reagan got shot? Remember him? I'm in charge.
No one submitted one question for these guys. Just so it's clear.
There's an Yvonne question in there. There's a Mike question in there.
There was one question from Judy that was submitted. It's on the paper.
I like this.
That was
I'm
one
going to start. I'm going to do this one. Who divided Greenville, panel? Who divided Greenville? Is Greenville divided?
Greenville's.
I feel kind of lonely. I was falling asleep. Look, there's division because there's a lack of trust. Everybody in this room is leaning towards the same things. And the real sad thing is that we're fighting amongst ourselves. But it's not just in Greenville County, and it's not just in South Carolina. It's throughout the entire country. The Democrats aren't winning. We're eating our own. We got to grow up. We got to start working together. You won't ever hear me say anything bad about these guys. I know they've all done good work in this county. We're all trying to do the same thing. The only reason I'm running here right now is because I trust that I will stand. I'm worried. There's been too many people in government that once they get a little bit of heat, they bend or they try to compromise. I just think we're way past compromising right now.
Yes, it's divided, and that's okay, because people who live on Wall Street, people who, they're people who we have nothing in common with. You only unite people around common purpose and other areas of commonality. So division, people act like division is some horrible thing, but it's normal and it's going to happen. So yes, it's divided from people who basically they financially or personally benefit from establishment politics somehow. And those people are not in a position, and I don't begrudge them that. They are not going to hold us accountable because they make their living, they go on vacations, their kids go to nice schools, so they have some skin in the system game. Those of us who don't and who see it as wrong. I mean, I had a great discussion with Thomas Beach about money in politics. I said, if I had $1 million, I would not spend it because I don't want to give money to MSNBC or other people that are involved. I want to change the system so it has more representation of people like us, not these career politicians who were there.
We are divided. We should be united. We should be united on unity of mission. We should be focusing on the mission. I know I'm a fighter, and I've upset some people at different times, but we have an open door policy. I am willing to meet, sit down. That's why Yvonne's running for chair. Mike's running for first vice chair. Let me go down to Columbia and fight those people. I think everybody here wants us to go down to Columbia and fight them. I know how to fight them and I know how to take them on. But we've got to have, we've got to come together. And I don't see any of the rhinos, legacy rhinos, old guard here. Where are all the legislators that Sam said he can bring to the table? We're not going to bring these people to the table. Yvonne's right. It's okay to be divided. And then what you do, you cut off the dead wood and then you grow. We have built a machine that will grow to 10,000 members by the end of the next 2 years.
All right. So Greenville County, you guys work in it, I don't work in it. How bloated is Greenville County? How do we streamline this system? Because what is it, 12% of the population is in the upstate?
Yes.
We lead. Yes. We are the enclave. We're not confused like Columbia. We're not whatever the low country is. I don't even go down there. Are we bloated? Can this be streamlined? If it can be streamlined, let's start with this side because you guys are the ones vying to replace the position, yeah? So how would we streamline Greenville County? What is one thing we could do to say, okay, well, the process, okay, that's okay, but let's get some results?
Okay, we could first of all have an environment with a code of conduct and some honor and decorum when we're together talking and get on the same page. We have not been on the same page for the past 2 years. There have been so many people that have either left or they've been kicked out, thrown out. You cannot be a force for change down in Columbia if you keep kicking everybody out that you don't like. And another thing, just for an example, the last forum we had, Jeff Davis did say that he doesn't care for 95% of the legislators in Columbia. He doesn't care for them. I think that, you know what, I think that's very sad. I think that's very sad because there are some very conservative, good legislators. There are some very good legislators there. They need to be reinforced. But when he said he didn't like 95% of them, and then he said the other 5%, he didn't know who they are.
Okay. So, right now, the 27th state just voted for a constitutional permitless carry. And I don't know about you, but if a politician looks at me and tells me, I don't care if you carry a gun, they're probably going to be fiscally conservative, they're going to probably be pro-life, they're going to be small government. They understand that I am a free man. So if all of these politicians are so upstanding, how come they're looking around and watching all these people do stuff and they're not leading the way? I'm not trying to be that one, okay? But what I'm saying is this.
Who are you addressing in this question?
Well, and with But this particular one, it's not a question, it's a statement. It's in a rebuttal to her about the 95% and all this other stuff. That's actually quite nice because I don't like any of them. I look at politicians as temps. And if they perform Viola, we will renew. And listen, you don't have to get along with everybody to perform. Right? You don't have to get along with everybody to perform, but you do have to perform. So sometimes you win and sometimes you lose, but you get up every time. You get back in the fight, bloody or otherwise, and then you go.
I agree. They need to be held accountable. I don't say give them a pass.
Okay.
They need to be held accountable.
Very good.
One of the things that got me off of the county council is that 4 years ago, I introduced an ordinance to make it illegal to come in my house and take my gun. If somebody from Washington came down here, I've asked that the county council approve that. It never did get off of the floor.
Was that like a Second Amendment sanctuary thing?
That's exactly right. It's what it was. And it never happened. Anderson did it. Aiken did it. Other counties did it. Horry County did it. Down at Myrtle Beach. But in Greenville County, we couldn't get it done because we've got elected officials that don't believe that cow horns will hook. And we've got to all get together and take people like that out. They don't need to be our elected officials if we feel that way.
Mr. Bowden.
Talking about being effective in Columbia, I can tell you firsthand when there's only 5 or 6 state ECs that are like-minded and challenging McKissick, it's real hard to get anything done.
Oh, I'm sure that is it.
The way that you're going to get it done in the way we're trying to do it right now, and we do it every Sunday night on Zoom, is we've got anywhere from 8 to 15 counties that we're working with. A lot of those counties in the last 2 or 3 weeks have had big wins.
Well, I'm going to tell all of you something, okay? I work at a station that has a 100,000 watt signal. That is bigger than any radio communications I had to fight World War III during the 1980s. This is asymmetrical ideological warfare. Now, you think one can't do anything. Who knows who Chris Dorner is? You know who Chris Dorner is, Joe? Chris Dorner is he was a disgruntled cop. He decided to go to war against the LAPD. He had them shooting at their own. I mean, they attacked 2 women in a pickup truck because they were in a pickup truck, killed a pickup truck, an apartment building, 2 other cars, only shot 1 woman once because one guy was chaotic. There's no reason that a politician cannot be chaotic. And if you need a platform, well, I'm just down the street.
Okay. Well, we'll take you up on that. But I would say that the way that we're going about it, even one person at a time, is to reach out and build an army around you. And that's what we're trying to do with these other counties, is build an army around us. We agree with the other slate. We want to get McKissick and his group out so that we can start really impacting legislation.
And I just want to respond to your question about is Greenville bloated? Yes, because Greenville is rapidly becoming a version of, not Chicago, I won't say that, but it's rapidly becoming a blue city. I mean, it's just, that's a reality. That's a reality. And you look at people like Liz Seaman on the board, you look at the area where I live, it is becoming a blue, and we're lying to ourselves if we think I don't care what the Republican County voting record is.
Do any of the politicians in South Carolina, they got George Soros as a attention item? Do we know?
Well, so Scott Besson, I mean, it just breaks my heart.
And what is he?
Scott Besson, he lives, and I learned this from Joe White. I fact-checked it myself because when the name came up, I went to Wikipedia to look. This is a guy who grew up in South Carolina, but he has a residence in New York and South Carolina. He worked for George Soros not only once, but twice. George Soros loaned him $2 billion. And that's, and so this is the kind of money and kind of people that we have.
Well,
so the idea.
What I'm looking for is I'm looking more for political influence that they try to, right now they're thinking secretaries of state, because that's how they stole the 2020 election. Secretaries of state, and DAs where they are decriminalizing crime. They're decriminalizing crime. But like if you're a McCluskey and you get out there and you have a phalanx of Antifa out front, you come Or in Chicago, in Chicago, they had incidents where two crime gangs were shooting at each other. And Kimmy Fox got out there and said that was mutual combat. They picked up 9 blocks with the automatic switches on the back of nobody prosecuted, nobody arrested. We can't have that.
Thank you.
So, at the end of the day, this is the thing. So, I've made this statement a lot of times, and I may live to regret this. So I'm going to do it again just because, that's the way it is. Whoever the Republican nominee is, I'm voting for. I don't care. I have the one I want to be the Republican nominee. I will support the one I want to be the Republican nominee. I will put all of that aside, and I will go into combat with who I have. Can Greenville County lead the state by putting things aside, reaching and saying, well, we're on the same team. I know that I don't want you on my Christmas card list, but we've got to work together.
Greenville does lead the way. York County, we flipped every seat in the York County Republican Party last Saturday and got 49 of the 49 delegates that will vote out Drew McKissick. Dorchester County, we won every seat. They didn't run a chairman, but we won everything else. And 27 of the 29 delegates in Dorchester County, blue Dorchester County, we turned people out. Next door to us, Barnwell. We won Barnwell, 5 delegates going down there to get rid of Drew McKissick. But the best part, 1 EC that will vote with us to have special meetings and hold Drew McKissick accountable. And right next door, our friends got Jonathan Hill elected to be chairman of Anderson County Republican Party. And we're going to torture Drew McKissick until he's out.
Yeah, Jonathan's sort of a disruptor anywhere he goes. I want to ask you guys this, because, you guys are the ones that are going to put these guys forward, right? So, can you, because this is the more important thing than them, you guys are the more important thing than them, can you unify and put us in a leadership position? And leadership is not getting out there saying, I'm number 1. Leadership is making decisions that everybody looks at and says, that was so well thought out, I have no rebuttal for it. We must go in that direction. And we have no longer got the luxury of sitting back going, well, maybe next week, maybe next year, maybe next time. So, can you do that? Nods, show of hands, hoo-ahs. Because that's what's important. That's what's important. Getting behind these guys. Yes, ma'am. Sure. Since I asked you a question, it's only fair.
So a lot of the people that are supporting the 3 of you were once supporting ReOrg. Were on the executive board. And I want to know that the people that support you, that you're not going to be like the people who are supporting them on the executive board, that if there's personality conflicts, if there's really hard times, are you going to walk away? Because you, I said to Stephen, I said to Jeff Maggs, I said, you didn't just walk away from Jeff Davis. You walked away from all of the EC's presidents and everyone that voted for you in those positions. So I would like to know, if it's really hard, and it's a different kind of pressure than running into a fight, is are you going to walk out on us?
Okay, two things. Have you ever run into a fire? That's pretty hot. But don't want you to run into a fire. If I didn't feel strongly about the Republican Party, and I didn't feel strongly about your values, why would I walk in here? Why would I be here? If I was only on one side, then I would only go to their meetings. I would only go to their groups. I walk in here knowing I'm going to get asked the tough questions. I walk in here knowing this is not the first time I've had a target on my back. I've rode this horse before. But I know what you're asking me. I'm not going to run. I'm not going to walk away. I'm not going to walk away. I'm here because I need all of you to support me if I'm the chair. It's not going to be a part-time job. Oh, well, Bill Frady doesn't like me, so I'm going to quit. That's not the case. If Jeff Davis doesn't like me, me and Jeff Davis have been friends. We've been on the same side for a long time. We both have mutual friends. Presley Stutz.
Oh, these debates are just so. This is what it's like to be on radio. You get on a roll, and then it's time for a commercial. There's no way to get around it. So let me ask you this. So to this side of the room, I presume you guys are the incumbents. Is that correct? And you are the seekers. So if they win, do you support them? Yeah. Conversely?
Yes.
Okay. So
I've been supporting them all the time. I just didn't feel like they supported me and the right issues.
I understand. But I mean, and this is the thing. When you are elected or anything, that's when it begins. I, like, my congressmen and my senators, they curse the day my parents met. Because I'm calling them constantly, Lindsey Graham, gun control is not a three-dimensional chess game. Tim Scott, the border is not supposed to be porous. It's a very simple job. You guys have gotten it way out there. You're just out there going, well, I mean, did you see what both of our senators did? Both of them decided they wanted to be presidential. So we just sent abortion back to the states. And they get out there and like, well, hey, I think we need a federal abortion law like the one we just got rid of. That nobody asked for. That's tone deaf. That is tone deaf. So, yes. You want to say something?
Back to the question.
Sure. Answer that question.
Well, I have stuck with the GOP for the past couple of years, and it's been difficult. But I'm committed to my precinct. I'm their representative, and I wasn't going to walk out. And it would be really hard for Jeff to throw me out. It'd be hard for anybody to throw me out, because I'd go out like a wet cat.
Let me ask you a question of this. When you guys are looking at your counterparts there, do you see weapons that you could probably use for your goal? Weapons? So, you and Julie, if you win, is Julie a weapon that you can utilize to help you further the goal of the Greenville County GR?
Julie has connections. We'd love to tap into those connections. Sam Manley, great at press secretary. I'd love talking to you on the radio. It's not my thing. I'm an implementer. I got a lot of work to do. I'd love for Sam to be our press secretary again. I asked him to do it back in last January. He could, but I would welcome him back into the party. Please be our press secretary for that. I welcome anybody here to get back into our party. Look at this group. If this group was united, I mean, we're kicking butt in Greenville and across the state just with the people here that are on one side or the other. But we all ought to be together.
So
we can be unstoppable.
Somebody comes to you, right? Because you have a few detractors out here. When somebody comes to you, are you giving them the time to try to explain to them in a way that addresses their issue?
I think everybody knows that we have had 90 open forum coffee and politics at the headquarters. We have an open door policy. People see that truck parked outside. They know we're there. We talk to anybody. I've spent hours and hours and hours with people. I will go over anything. Anna brought up something about that lawsuit. I have spoken for tons of time. I don't know where
So
she's
these
been.
things are happening. Do you guys know that? You know when they're having the open forum? So you know. You go? Yes. Hey, all right.
Joe has a question.
Very good. All right. So, back to you, Mr. Dill. Now I know that you have fought the trench wars in Greenville County Council. Right? I know that. I'm aware of it, and I appreciate it. And this is a stupid question, but every time I try to call a county councilman, there's out one big question I want to ask. I never get it. I don't even get a voicemail. It just rings, and nobody ever answers. Call your number does that too, Mr. Dill. Well, it does.
That's not true. You can ask people in here. I answer my phone, and if I don't answer my phone, you leave a message, I'll call you back just as soon as I get off of it. That has always been my policy. And do you know why that's always been my policy for 36 years? I hate to call anybody and them never call me back. Now, elected official, banker, insurance man, it don't matter who you are. If I call you, I expect you to call me back. And I do that, and I have done it religiously for 36 years.
Anybody got kids in school? Yeah, you.
I got kids in school. I got questions.
Well, I'm just sitting right here holding the mic for you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
2 years ago, I was a rookie, never been in politics, but very frustrated that the election got stolen by President Trump, from President Trump. And then all of a sudden, Jeff Lynch opened up his doors to let people come in, and I heard about it, and I started attending. Jeff Lynch. Mark Lynch, sorry. But yes.
Lynch.
The Lynch Appliance Store.
Yes, sir.
So I started attending, and Jeff, how many committees, or Miss Julie, because you were involved back in the day, how many committees were under Jennifer Black and Nate back in the day? And if you could list them, and then Jeff and Yvonne, could y'all list the committees that y'all created in the last 2 years, please?
Well, I can say, because I was never at an office level with the Greenville County Republican Party. However, I was involved in the candidate recruitment committee. So that is a committee under Nate or so. And I'm not a Nate fan. Everybody knows that. But I lost my train of thought.
How many committees?
But that I lost my train of thought.
What was the second part for Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Okay.
They're based on our bylaws. There were 4 committees. One of them was the candidate recruitment committee. There was a couple. There's 4 of them in our bylaws. We took it from 4 committees to 14. I think we've set up a couple more kind of ad hoc committees. One of them, Joe is actually on, which is our conflict resolutions committee. They have taken a professional approach to trying to resolve conflicts because we don't understand a lot of these conflicts. So we are setting up committees where you got to find, if we have a lot of people out there, if we want to grow to 10,000 members, it's not just, send your $25 and we'll see you in 2 years or the next year when the renewal's up. It's where do we put you? How do we put you into a spot where you can be effective, number one, in your precinct, then in your region, then in the county, and then then how do we outreach? Because Greenville is leading everything in this state. People look to Greenville for information about how to run a county party. They are coming to us. And as I told with those 14 committees, I said, don't just think about when you're formulating and you're setting things up, don't just think about it for the county of Greenville. Think about it for the entire state. Think about it for all 46 counties, because we are going to take over the South Carolina Republican Party, and we will be the state party. I don't know them all. They're all written down, and I think it's on the website somewhere.
To you outside of this?
Mr. Bell, I just remembered what I was going to say, and it's in reference to Joe's question. You mentioned Jennifer Black. She was not the chairman long enough to really set up much of anything. But one thing she did set up, she set up the audit committee, where we were able to find out they all cheated. And it was news to her. She didn't know it. She really didn't.
Who's got children in Greenville County schools? Anybody? Thankfully, I do not. You do, sir? Are you happy with the curriculum? No, you are not. Okay, so here's my problem with things today, as it stands. They're trying to abort children before they come into the world. Then they cultivate and nurture mental health, because kids have issues and they have questions. So now they've made it trendy to be something called transgender, which is not even a real word. It's not grammatically correct. I refer to them as musses, made up sexual status. Now, and this is causing a lot of issues now, simply because the last 4 rampage shooters of any note have been these musses. And they're being assaulted. They're very young, they're very impressionable, they're being assaulted with drugs, leading to mental illness and all these other things. And it is getting untenable. Now, and I ask this question because I genuinely do not know, how much can the county council influence what goes on in Greenville County schools? Because I know the Greenville County School District is gigantic, but do you guys have any sway whatsoever? Do you have any inroads into them that we can get out there and say, I don't know what you teach, but we need to get back to the Dick and Jane readers if we could, if that's okay.
If you look on our website for the events, even just Susie Saravi's been putting, I mean, we've had over the past 6 days, 7 days, they're coming up with their 5-year plan right now. We recorded that Zoom call yesterday at the headquarters so we can put it on YouTube so we can kind of get that information out there. But yes, our Greenville County school system is for the entire county. We're probably the 40 or 45th largest school system in the nation. We're certainly the largest in the state, but they're probably 40 some odd in the nation. And there is a lot county council can do. I mean, we need to push county council. One of your earlier questions, I really just want to address it. You asked if Greenville County was bloated. Go look at that golden palace they put downtown. What in the world is that? If you've seen University Ridge, look at that big fancy building they're moving into. What in the world is that? I hope Joe didn't vote for it. I assume he did.
I didn't vote for it. I wanted to sell the land and go out in the county.
Yes,
and
that's
put smaller
absolutely.
offices.
When we
There's
moved
no
into,
reason to have all that conglomeration.
when Greenville County moved into University Ridge, that was an old shopping center. We should have moved into an old shopping center, not built a golden palace.
Oh, that one. I just thought that was a big shopping center. That's what they told me when I paid my property taxes.
So,
yes, ma'am, Ms. Julian.
Yes, so regarding the schools, so we have a gentleman, I think I saw Paul here earlier, Paul Gorski, and I like talking to Paul because he's been very knowledgeable. He actually was involved in the school board in the state that he came from, and one of the problems we have, we almost have a sweetheart board of trustees. It's really the guy whose contract just got renewed that is really the power base, and so there's a couple of things. We need to probably have more trustees like people that we elect, but we also need to figure out how to get someone in that superintendent role, because that's really where the power base is.
So there's nobody in the superintendent role right now?
Someone who is not controlling.
So how do we dislodge you?
Yeah, well, it's a good question.
I want to say something. I was on the school board for 12 years. By myself, I voted 1 and nothing, and then here comes Julie, she gets put on there. And because of our position on giving education and not social engineering, they spent $218,000 to get rid of me and an equivalent amount on Julie. This is not a simple thing. And during that whole process, I never had any help from the Republican Party. It went dead.
So here's my question. If that's the case, is the county GOP in any position, if they are aware of this kind of an issue going, where they're out there saying, well, reading, writing, arithmetic, I don't care too much about the CEI index or, 365 days of a girl, I don't care about that. Can you guys step in and, I don't know, shore them up? Who wants to go?
We have set up a school board task force. It's probably one of our most popular. That's how we got involved in the school board. We send people down there. Nobody. I used to go to school board meetings 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago just because of our curiosity on school choice, and nobody was there. We are staffing it. We're guiding people down there, watching them. We now, for the first time, have a school board that's probably 6 to 6. And guess what? 6 more members will be available to take out next November. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to take them out, and we're going to have a fully conservative school board in November of 2024.
And we also are having an epidemic. You were talking about transgender. Our schools are being infiltrated by a thing called fairies. Up where I live where the schools are really like up in Lake Wobegon. I mean, it's beautiful schools, wonderful schools. Every kid is above average. But we've got kids in the classroom that wear these little furry collars, and they'll meow and lay down in the floor and all this kind of stuff. This is a joke, and it should never happen. In Pickens County, I've been told they've even brought in litter boxes for the furries. Listen, I don't know where you came from, but where I live, we used to beat kids' rear end if you wasn't listening to the teacher.
Well, I mean, just to give you a point of reference, when I was going to school in Columbia, South Carolina, I was buzzed. The assistant principal had a cricket bat that he had drilled some strategic holes into, so there would be no air cushion when he did the two-handed slam into it. And nobody ever saw him twice. Nobody ever had to see him. I mean, that's probably. So, I mean, but that's something that is ongoing. Yes.
Hey, Bill.
Yes.
What I'm seeing right now, I'm seeing unity right now.
Now we're on subjects that we can unify, not hatred.
Not my job. I didn't do that. That's them doing that. I'm not doing it.
How does a bank tell a counterfeit? They don't have to know all the counterfeits out there. All they have to know is what the real currency looks like so well that everything else, when they don't see that, they see counterfeit. Quote by Napoleon Hill: "The path of least resistance makes all rivers and some people crooked."
Are you sure Bruce Lee didn't say that? Okay. That sounded like a Bruce Lee saying to me. So as you guys go forward, I hope, and we got a little bit of time left, but let me just make this one statement. It would be my hope that you guys find a way to get cohesive. In my unit in Germany, I had some guys in the unit that I would not have urinated on their head and put them out if they had been on fire. But if the Russians had ever come across the East German border, we were going to unite and we would go kill every one of them to death. And we were going to have each other's back, and we would step in front of each other. And we were brothers. Sometimes brothers don't like each other. Brothers and sisters don't like each other. And, I know this is going to be hard for the outlets. Because, the Democrats, who knows what the journo list was? I bet you know what it was, Julie. You know what it was? The journo list. Journo list was a listserv they circulated out there where if they had a talking point in Tallahassee, it was the same one in Tacoma. Now, I understand that you guys are all outlets. Unfortunately, sometimes the outlets have got to group together and say, okay, let's look at a united thing, let's just go rip it apart. And that would be my hope that you guys can do that. So,
I have a question.
yes, ma'am.
Can I ask one?
Yes, you can.
That's so awesome.
I was about to start ad-libbing there, so.
I'm going to first ask Sam this question.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I'll go to Yvonne. Sam, will you be a servant leader? Will you be a servant leader, and what is your concept of what a servant leader is? And then to Yvonne, the same question.
Yes, I will be a servant leader. I mean, that's how all leaders should be. I should be the one that's out there doing the work also. I shouldn't be dictating any type of work to anyone. Servant leader is leading by example. So yes, most definitely I'd be a servant leader, and I would be in the trenches with everybody here, talking to everybody. I'm all for going to all the precincts, meetings, and unifying, and getting everybody on the same page and coming up with a game plan to take out the ones that are being woke and putting the books in our schools and being on the same page as everybody else. So yeah, definitely a servant leader. I'm not one that's just going to sit back and not get my hands dirty.
Okay, yeah, so my definition of a servant leader is someone who has really nothing to gain by being in the leadership position. They're really a reluctant leader, so they have nothing personally to benefit from it. And they're also a person who really is very committed to the mission and the goal. So they do it because they said they can bring something to the group. It's also a person who recognizes that everyone has something to contribute and some talents, and you have to put the person in the right spot and also respect their contribution, but also make tough decisions and recognize that, particularly in a situation like this, there are people who want to destroy the mission. There are people, you have to be able to recognize those and make some hard choices. So I would, exactly. So you have to do the hard work, and then yes, I would be one, because as I said, I'm more committed to this. My fight here is that I have lived in 2 places that have been destroyed by liberal policies, and I blame the Republicans who for years have gone along with those policies. You know, we're talking about furries at a meeting. How much sense does that make?
Well, it doesn't make any sense, but then again,
Yeah.
Do you think leadership should inspire? I mean, once again, going back to military leadership, do you understand what they have to do? They're taking an 18-year-old skateboard kid, and they're going to instill enough confidence in him when some lieutenant who's just a little older than him says, we're going over there, we're probably going to die. The kid's going to be like, all right, well, I'm not carrying very much if that's the case. But they go. Can politicians inspire? Can you guys inspire? You have that in you to inspire.
I can. I've done it before. I've done it in my precinct, along with the other members, the president and the secretary. We've brought in people, and we've set up committees, and we've done everything that Jeff and his group talk about doing. We even had a COVID committee who's got back during the COVID. We met and talked about what to do about the shot, what to do about the mask. All of those kind of things we've done in the Tigerville precinct, and I can bring people together. I can work with people. It doesn't matter, you know, I might not agree with your politics, but I'm not going to kill you because you're an atheist or whatever. I'm going to work with you some way, but I will not compromise on my basic beliefs.
Mike,
I look at it this way. Well, if you're going to use the military, you know, we're not going to break everybody down to build them up. Just so you know that. It's a whole totally different way to go. I would just say that you know, in my 40-year career in sales and marketing, and I managed some really large pieces of business and had a lot of people that worked for me. The way that I found it to be most effective was to work on their behalf. So I needed to know what they were trying to accomplish, what they were trying to do, and I owned helping them get there. And I also cared about their families. I cared about them. When you do that, you get a tremendous amount of loyalty back, and the people realize that you respect them on an even level. So can you inspire? Yeah, you inspire by standing right beside them and helping them through the process, and building them up.
So, one thing I do want to say, most of the questions that I had that I did not get to were for you 3. So obviously, you 3 that want to take positions, and is it okay if I give them these questions when it gets done so they can look at them?
Sure, absolutely.
I think that would be educational just because of what the points of view are, but I'm very pleased to have been a part of this. I wish all of you success. And when I wish you success, I hope that means that there's a bloody froth coming out of your mouth when you're waging your art of governance by the consent, from the consent of the people that are governed. And for you, you guys are America, okay? You are America. That it's not Joe Biden. It's not some made-up form word like transgender. You guys are America. You guys will make the difference in time. I get a lot of texts. Well, Bill, they're going to steal the next election. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. What do we do? When do we do something? You're doing it tonight. You're doing it tonight. And it will resonate because, believe me, the people that, all these people that allow and want to rule every little micro detail of your life, they're cowards. They wouldn't face you. They wouldn't face you, not in a minute. Well, they might would with their armed detail. tell when you start stripping a few things away from them, things begin to get a mite different on their attitude. So, thank you. I mean, make your choice, pick them, talk to them. Stick with them. If your choice doesn't win, talk to them and say, go help them.
Yes.
Weaponize your opponent if you beat them in an election. That's not, you won today. Temporary situation. Might change tomorrow. They choose to weaponize you. Be the biggest, meanest caliber you can be.
Yes.
Get out there and take no prisoners, because the day of the luxury of waiting around, waiting for something else to change, debts, this, that, the other, that's gone. We are this, and I talked about this today. We are the ones that existed when there was no internet. We know how to dial a phone and drive a straight drive car. We have existed in a time and prospered when there was no internet, no iPhone, no TikTok. And now we exist in a time when all of this stuff is here, and yet we still prosper and we still thrive. When we are gone, we have got to leave a big enough footprint to where this country can try to save itself, because the likes of us will not be seen again. And with that, I'm coming in 3 minutes early and under budget. I hope that works out.
I'd like everybody to give Bill Frady a big round of applause. WORD from 10 to noon, 100,000 watts. He's fantastic. Thank you, Bill. And with that, I guess we will adjourn. Thank you, everybody, for coming out, and some other events. Thank you.